final third.
I think Pepe's so coachable. You just need to shake him.
You should be in prison. We bailed you out. We bailed you out to come and play this season. You're out here disgracing us. You should be in prison. You facing charges.
All right, guys, welcome back to another episode of The Final Third. I'm your host this week, Banks, joined by my co-host, Lavish. I'm joined by a very special guest this week. I'm joined by Goldie from the Goldie Tottenham podcast. Don't worry, guys, I said that right first time. There wasn't any But yeah, Goldie from the Goldie Tottenham podcast. Welcome on to The Final Third. How are you feeling today?
I'm good apart from the result. I mean, you guys could have chosen me for any other week but this one. But it's cool. We're here to talk it. We're here to dissect it, obviously. But no, it's a pleasure to be on, man. I can't wait to discuss some of the topics as well.
Thank you, man. Thank you, man. So we're going to jump right into it. The big game of the weekend, obviously, the North London derby. Lavrisky's telling me it's the biggest derby in the country and whatnot.
It's the biggest
do you believe that? Do you believe that?
100%. There's nothing else that comes close. You're guaranteed goals, you're guaranteed action, you're guaranteed tackles, passion. Even today, without fans, it lived up to expectation. Like, can't even remember the last time even a 0-0. It's always goals. So best derby in the country for me. Even in Europe, it's up there. I know there's some interesting ones in like Argentina and stuff and Turkey, but it's always lives up to expectation all the time. So yeah, I would say that.
You always want to for the Premier League.
Yeah, 100%.
You always want to see a North London derby with the fans, but obviously because of restrictions and whatnot, we didn't have it. But we did have an excellent game that was brought to life by Eric Lamella's wonderful Rabona goal. How's you feeling at that point? Because obviously Tottenham wasn't playing well up until that point. But you have got that knack of, if you get that chance, even if you're not playing well, you take it, and it might be able to take a lead and keep the lead. How was you feeling at that point when the goal went in?
Do you know what? With Mourinho, we've kind of seen us sit back, but we've been so clinical on the counter. So the first 10, 15 was awful. Don't get me wrong. We was completely lost. We were second to everything. Like, they were all over us. Arsenal were completely dominating, right? And we looked flat, but obviously Son come off injured and Lamella come on, and the guy's just crazy, man. He just causes chaos. So I think he come on. That Rabona was disgusting. Like, the audacity to even try it through his legs and the way. Yeah, it was crazy. Like, unbelievable finish, to be honest. And you know what, with Lamella, it's funny because he scored something similar in the Europa League, and it was funny to see it again. Like, the guy just
years ago.
Yeah, Europa League.
Because anybody else is using their right foot, laying it off maybe.
He don't use his right foot. He hates his right foot for some reason. Yeah. He will use any excuse to use his left, and I mean, he used it, and it paid off. So
this game was the perfect example of the type of player Lamella is. This game was his whole career. Like, in terms of, like, you get the highs and lows of Lamella, because Lamella's one of them players where he's bad when he starts, but when he comes on, when he's coming onto a game and the game's like in the fringes, either 1-0, 2-1, 0-0, he causes chaos. Perfect. Same game. He gets
proper shit out. He's a shit out.
Same game was a wonder goal. Like, that's just perfect Lamella. But yeah.
Do you know what? Do you know what's funny as well? This was his this is his first red card in his Spurs career. Can you believe that? The guy is crazy, right? The guy's always flying into tackles. You know, he's always.
The worst thing is the last, like, before he scored that goal, he flew into. He left something, a little something on David Luiz, and he left. Who else did he leave something on? He left something on somebody else as well.
I think it was Xhaka.
Just to welcome them into the game. Guys are nutcase, man.
Yeah.
But I want to speak about some of the things that Mourinho said after the match. He said some of the big players were hiding. Do you believe that, or do you believe it's the coach that set them out in a specific way that kind of makes them want to sit back and not really go out there, be adventurous? Do you think it's the Harry Kanes, the Gareth Bells? He hooked Gareth Bell after what, 56 minutes? He's had a great run of form recently. So which way do you think it is?
Do you know what? With me, right, with the North London derby, even Spurs or Arsenal, you join the club and you should know what that means. You don't need a team talk, right? It should be something that's already installed into you.
Yeah.
Regardless of the manager, regardless of tactics, that game means everything for the fans, for the club. You shouldn't need a team talk. You don't even need that. It should already be done. You should rock up in that stadium, away or home, whatever, and you should know what it means. So it should already be installed, like you're saying. So I think today was interesting that Bale got hooked as well, quite surprisingly, and he put on Sissoko. I could see the vision. I could see what he was trying to do because Doherty was struggling. But at the end of the day, I thought it was. We will get onto him anyway. He's a very interesting player, very interesting signing. But but do you know what? Do you know what? I can see where he's coming from. Today is it was disgraceful to an extent. Like we rock up there and we play like that. It was, and then we get a sending off, and that's when we start playing. Like it doesn't make any sense at all to me. Like crazy.
Tottenham went down to 10 men, and all of a sudden, Arsenal took that as an invitation to sit back, not to go get the. That's what was crazy. Like you lot actually had the impetus, had the momentum. Probably could have scored one, at least got the equalizer in that time. But I'm gonna go to Lavish now. Obviously, going down 1-0 to the Lamela goal. What did you think of Arsenal's reaction to going down?
No, it was a fantastic reaction. Like the Leicester game, like a couple of weeks ago, we bounced back because I'm shocked when we bounce back. I'm so proud of them when they do because they rarely do it. But we come back now, we get it to 2-1. But I just got frustrated when it went down to 10 men, and then Arteta decides to. His in-game management is so poor. This is why I just don't like Arteta at all. His in-game management is catastrophic. You bring on El Neni, it's just regressive substitutions after that, and the bondage.
There was Neni playing in the 10.
The bondage this man has with Willian. We have to research it. Just always, no matter how bad or how well, obviously he's picked up form, but no matter what form he's in, he always has to come on. Then we'll talk about the Aubameyang stuff earlier, but bouncing, I thought we'd draw. I honestly thought we'd draw. Kane's goal on a normal day that goes in, and even the one that was disallowed.
Oh, that was a crazy at the end. Gabriel's block as well, and I think it was Davinson Sanchez.
Yeah,
that was crazy.
I feel like luck was on our side because even the penalty, looking back on it now, the reason why I was saying it was a penalty is because if that happens anywhere on the pitch, it's a foul. Do you get what I mean? But I understand the reason behind it in that he didn't obstruct a goal-scoring opportunity. The ball had gone, but he fouled Lacazette. And I don't know, if that's anywhere on the pitch, it's a foul. So, but I understand people, because if that happened against us, I'd be like, yeah, we got bumped. But I felt like we were lucky today, so we were lucky.
Do you know what with that penalty, just to butt in quickly, I feel like because... So what happened? Obviously, the ball went into Lacazette's stride, and he obviously volleyed it. But where he kind of spooned it as well, right? He kind of lost his balance, and I think if he would have got a normal connection on that, and his technique would have stayed all right, Davinson Sanchez might have actually got the ball. But where he's gone off balance, he's kind of just literally clattered into him. So I think
it kind of looked like Lacazette moving into Davinson Sanchez.
Yeah,
but. When you take him, I think kind of reputation kind of went before Davinson Sanchez.
Reputation plays a big part in penalties, and that's a discussion for another day. But yeah, it does.
Moving forward in terms of Tottenham, because it's a losing a North London derby is always going to be demoralising, and you've seen teams such as Leicester and United pick up points. Obviously, Chelsea drew, and Everton lost ahead of you, and West Ham lost ahead of you. Where do you see you lot's fight for the top four? Do you still see you in the mix, or is this another setback that's going to...
It is another setback. It is, because going into this game, I think a lot of teams dropped points this weekend, right? So everything was lining up for us to, if we go and win here now, top four is very much achievable. And we put a statement into the other teams that this is definitely possible. In terms of top four, I think it's still achievable. There's a lot of games to play, and teams are so inconsistent this year, you don't even know what to expect. So... I mean, to be honest with you, what team is actually doing good this year? I think City have done well, but even they started a little bit shaky. Other than that, Liverpool have been poor this year, I feel, and no one else is really putting in consistent run of form. So I feel like it's definitely
this year.
It's like no one wants it. So
exactly, it might be exactly the 2019 season where everyone was just losing, everyone was just passing that fourth spot. Say, who wants it? That's exactly what it feels. I'm seeing Everton at home to Burnley.
Hot potato with top four.
Go and get the 3 points if you want this Champions League spot. Yeah. And they're losing at home to... Nah. It feels like one of those Champions League races where everyone's just going to drop points, and it's who's going to be the least worst. Who's going to do the least worst?
Best out of a bad bunch.
Basically, yeah. That's my point. I feel like it's definitely still achievable. Yeah, this is a setback. Yeah, it's obviously it's kind of demoralising, like you're saying, to lose an North London derby, but still games to go, and there's still teams dropping points. So you just got
Tottenham's Arsenal to the Champions League. I feel like is heavily backed on Europa now. Like they decided a couple game weeks ago, it's all in. It's Europa or bust. for both teams. So that's what's interesting.
Well, for both Tottenham and Arsenal, just Arsenal.
More so Arsenal, but now that Tottenham have lost this North London derby, I feel like now we're going to be like, okay, let's go full throttle like Europa.
Do you know what? Yeah, go on, carry on.
I was going to say it's two birds with one stone because Mourinho, all Mourinho wants to do, if he loses Europa, obviously he'll find out the Calamari Cup first before he does the Europa. But if he wins that Calamari Cup, he's done what he needed to do. Because he wants to just say, when it backfires, because it will backfire on Spurs fans turning, he wants to say, I brought you success. So he's gonna,
100%.
if he loses the Calamari, he's all in for the Europa. And that's two birds with one stone. But what are you gonna say?
I was going to say, right, I said on my live, I feel like we Arsenal and Tottenham are going to meet in the Europa League again. I got a funny feeling. I feel like we both got. I feel like, it will be unreal, man. I don't know if my heart could take it, but it'd be very good. But yeah, I think both our ties. I mean, Arsenal have got to do something mad to mess up that 3-1 lead?
3-1, yeah, 3-1.
Yeah, 3-1, and we got to do something crazy to mess up our 2-0 cushion as well. So I feel like I don't know about next round, but I definitely could see some point. I feel like we might meet.
The fans need to be in there as well. It needs to happen at a time when they've let fans back into there because, that's when the North London derby will get real spicy. Final point I want to ask on Tottenham. Obviously, a lot of different Tottenham fans' opinions on Mourinho, what he's done for the club since he's been there. It's been about 18 months since he's been there now. What's your stance on Mourinho? Do you feel like he's the right manager to take you forward? Are you happy with the work he's done so far? Where you at with Mourinho right now?
Do you know what? When Pochettino got sacked, I think every Spurs fan could agree that we just need a manager that can win us a trophy and then bring on another big project like what Pochettino did. Because to be honest with you, Pochettino stayed at the club, 6-7 years, something like that. That's rare in football. Not every manager can do that. And there's no loyalty in football anymore. Managers get sacked left, right and centre. Look at Chelsea. How many managers they had over the past years or whatever. So I think it was a very big statement from the club to sack a manager who done so much for us and then bring in someone less than 24 hours at 6 o'clock in the morning, the statement come out that he's there. He had that,
Bed was still warm.
Yeah, Daniel Levy had that in mind for ages. I know he fancied Mourinho to take that job. But to be honest with you, he's kind of shot himself in the foot sometimes with the decisions he makes. And to be honest with you, I know what Mourinho's like. I know I've studied the guy quite a lot and he's an interesting character. And a lot of his teams, he's a short-term manager, don't get me wrong. He's not a project manager. And Spurs fans have got to get that into their brain a little bit because we're going to have to take some sacrifices whilst he's here at the club because we've seen in the past with United, look what he done when he left. He ruined a lot of players and a lot of things happened at that club. And he kind of, you know what I'm saying? I could talk about Mourinho for ages, right? But there's one thing this guy's got to do and there's one thing I need from this guy is a trophy. And that's it. Look, whatever happens. If some players go, some players stay, cool. But there's one thing he's got to do and that's win a trophy. And that's what we hired him for.
Yeah, it definitely feels like that sort of, we know what you are. Bring us what you know you can bring us and we'll be happy and then we can go our own separate ways.
Yeah.
I'll move on to the early kickoff because this was the way more interesting one. The earlier kickoff from today, Leicester, 5? Sheffield United, Sheffield United obviously sacked Chris Wilder, got in a guy called Heckingbottom, who I'm still not sure is a real person. We got to do some deep research into where they're finding these guys. But yes, Leicester 5, Sheffield United 0. Ian Nacho hat-trick first in the Premier League. Do we all feel like Leicester's going to stay in the top 4? Do you feel like, because obviously they've got the whole mentality thing in terms of they had a terrible run of form last season when top 4 seemed secure for them. Do you feel like they're going to drop out? Could they possibly drop out? Or do you feel like they're going to ride this high to the end of the season and secure their place in the top 4?
Do you know what? For me, I'm looking at their run of fixtures now. They got United in the FA Cup. They got Man City in the league, and then they got West Ham in the league. Them 2 games are crucial. If they win them 2, or don't at least avoid losing, they got a good chance of staying in that top 4. I feel they'll do it. I feel like they're one of the stronger teams in the league, and Rodgers is doing a fantastic job. So I feel like they will stay in.
I've always said I don't believe Leicester being able to close it on the home straight. Yeah, but I trust the teams chasing them a lot less. I don't believe West Ham have the form to catch Leicester because outside Chelsea, who's next? Who's the next? Because Liverpool are pretty much out of it. They're quite far away. next will be West Ham to chase the pack, and I don't trust West Ham to do better than Leicester do. So I feel like they've actually secured it just because of everything around them. Yeah.
Yeah, it definitely feels like one of those situations where if you're looking at who's chasing you, you've got Everton chasing you. Could have really put some pressure on Leicester before the match in terms of winning against Burnley, but they failed to do that. Obviously, West Ham have managed to lose at Old Trafford, gives them that little bit more breathing room. So,
Burnley
yeah, it's going to be...
managed to get these wins. Frustrates. Every season I come into it saying, yep, Sean Dyche, this is your last one.
Do you know what? Credit to Sean Dyche. I think he's a manager that is quite disrespected. Like look at that squad. That squad is dead. Like that.
That's what I told him. Like, if you sign up to play for Sean Dyche, you know what you're signing up
Bank
for.
says it's
Bank. You know you're signing up for.
He says it all the time.
You know you're signing up for hella cardio. Hella cardio if you're signing up to play for Sean Dyche. But it works. Like, it's worked for 6 years. Wait. Let me ask you this question because Shemi didn't agree with me on this one. If Sean Dyche was to leave Burnley, do you feel like he could get another Premier League job?
That's a tough one, because I don't know what type of football he'd play. Would he change it up a little bit because he's got better players, or do you know what? But he's a Premier League manager.
Listen, see what I mean? When I speak, listen back. Do you see what I mean?
No.
Let him finish.
I need to finish, right? Because Dyche is a manager that obviously has kept Burnley up, but he's playing a certain way of football. Number one, if he was to go to a club where they might expect something a little bit different, they might want something more expansive, then he might find himself in a difficult situation. But I feel like he's a Premier League manager. I feel like he's got if he had the facilities and he had the funds at the moment, which he hasn't got at Burnley, because that's, like I said, that squad, you look at that squad, they're Championship players. Some of them are League One, League Two. Like, I'd say there's about 15-20% of that squad is genuinely Premier League quality.
Yeah.
Other than that, it's carrying like 15 of that 20%.
Yeah. And do you know what? And other than that, I look at their squad and I'm like, how do you do it every year? And how did they beat Liverpool? Like, it's crazy what he's doing. He's doing a good job. And I feel like like I said, he's disrespected. Definitely.
Pure fan desire from them boys at Turf Moor. Quickly going on to the Manchester United match. Manchester United 1, West Ham United 0. With the results, I'll just ask this one quickly just to get it out there. In fact, you know what? I'll ask you your thoughts on Ole first. I like to hear out like non-United fans' thoughts on Ole.
Do you know what? I don't rate him. But do you know why? I feel like he's bailed out by individual brilliance a lot. I feel like tactically and his tactical nous and his ability to change games and stuff is not that good. And I feel like, you know what? I've got this conspiracy that Fergie's doing a lot behind the scenes still. I don't know what it is.
He's still working.
I feel like he's still doing.
Like he's coming back on. He's coming back on for another episode. You're coming back on for another episode.
Do you know what? I just feel I've got a funny feeling that I don't know what it is about him. I just don't think he's an elite manager. And I feel like at a club like United, where the pressure's so high and there's a lot of expectancy to win trophies, because since Fergie, they've been pretty dogs. So, and Mourinho kind of filled the gap with the trophies, but even then the football wasn't great and left them in a pretty bad situation. So, but yeah, it's interesting. Ollie's an interesting character. I want to see where he finishes this season as well. I want to see where he ends up with United. And to be honest with you, with the funds as well, I want to see what he does in the summer. But I still don't think he's an elite manager at all. Personally,
my thing with Ole is just that if he leaves United, which Premier League club is taking him? Which Premier League club is actually taking Ole? Yeah. I think if Manchester United can answer themselves that, they can answer whether Ole should really be at the club, whether this is really the right thing. But again, that's a topic we can talk about another day.
That I've in my adult life that I know that the importance of PR and the importance of the media, because a lot of what Ole gets away with and how he's in this job and been able to stay there for this long is very much PR driven. Considering the fact that the majority of the pundits are ex-United, Ole's a nice guy, has no real enemies. So like when you're talking to him, it's all buddy. So he gets away with it, and it's just the mechanism that is Man United all falls into place for him. So you can't really speak out against Man United like that because you've got Neville there. Roy Keane comes in, and Alex Ferguson working behind the scenes. Don't know what he's doing.
Do you know what? With Ole as well, there's a mentality around sort of like people who've had connection to the club before. It's like with Arteta. Arsenal fans are so desperate for that guy to succeed just because he had that link with the club. And even it's not with just managers as well. It's with players that come from the academy. Like these players, cool, they come onto the scene, they might do well, but there's a certain times where actually they're average players and you might need to let go. But fans are so insistent on, he come from the academy. He's for example, he Spurs through and through. Do you know what I'm trying to say? So it's an interesting one. But yeah, exactly. That's what I'm trying to say. So there's that. I think there's that level of connection with Ollie that United fans have as well, and that's what's kept him in the job a little bit more. And apparently he signed a new deal as well. I think I saw a report.
Apparently, so yeah.
So and I think that plays into it a little bit into account with the connection sort of thing as well.
United for top 4, quick fire. I believe we're gonna get top 4.
Yeah. We will.
Yeah, you know what? I think you will. I think it's out of. Yeah, I think Leicester up there as well. I think Thomas Tuchel's doing well at Chelsea as well. I don't know if I can't see us doing it, to be honest with you. It's going to be hard. It's possible. Don't get me wrong. Like, it might happen, but I think United are looking a little bit more settled than a lot of the other teams around the top half right now. So I feel I can see that happening. Yeah.
All right. Thank you, guys, once again for listening to the final third. This has been your host Banks with my co-host Shems, aka Lavish, and our very special guest Goldie. Thank you for coming on the final third platform to talk to us. You've been great today.
Hold on a minute. Sorry. Oh, you signed out. Sorry, my bad.
I ain't even signed out. You just wait there. You just wait there.
I was about to go on because I remember the Harry Winks comment you made a couple years ago. Now you're gonna try to.
Hold on. I like Harry Winks a couple years ago. I did like Harry Winks.
That guy's.
I liked him a couple years ago. He didn't progress.
Huh?
I didn't say he's better than Guendouzi. Guendouzi's all in Germany now. Like, they could both be in Germany. Maybe they're just both rubbish. Let me sign out first before you go and dig up all my old tweets and whatnot. Guys, thank you once again for listening to The Final Third. Make sure you subscribe to the channel, The Final Third on YouTube. Make sure you follow us on all the socials. That's at The Final 3RD_ on both Twitter and Insta. We're going to put Goldie's @ right here to make sure you follow him. If you follow The Final Third, make sure you follow Goldie. This has been The Final Third, game week 28? Game week 28.
Boy.
Game week 28.
Yeah, 28.
Signing out. Thank you.
Peace.
You are now listening to The Final Third.
I think Pepe's so coachable. You just need to shake him.
You should be in prison. We build you out. We build you out to come and play this season. You're out here disgracing us. You should be in prison. You facing charges.